Good morning. Happy Bridging Sunday. My name is Kirsten Hunter. I'm the Director of Lifespan Ministries here at South Church, and I am here with a superstar crew welcoming you to our service this morning, which is our Bridging Sunday service. Bridging is an annual tradition. The service includes a ritual marking the transition of our graduating senior youth into the adult community, marking the transition of our coming of age 8th graders into the youth group, marking the transition of all of our children and youth advancing to a new year, and all of our adults transitioning in all kinds of ways into what is ahead of us. And this year in particular, we truly are bridging from quite a remarkable year of shared experience into something in the future that is still taking shape. And so in a lot of ways, all of us are living into this current transition together, and yet we're all doing it in our own very unique places in life. And so it's a blessing to be here with all of you to think about this moment. And I am deeply honored to be joined this morning by Reverend Susan, Jen Del Deo, our religious education coordinator, and Hilary Clark. And I'm going to pass it to Jen Del Deo to share another piece about our service.
Thank you, and good morning. You'll see some footage this morning from 2 different camping trips that we had in May. We had our senior youth group for one weekend, and we had our coming of age group another weekend for their traditional wilderness journey. And so you'll see some video footage from those trips, even at night around a campfire sometimes. So hope you enjoy those. And our worship associate this morning is Hilary Clark, and I'll pass it to Hilary.
Thank you, Jen. Good to be with you all this morning. We've got some very exciting music coming up. We have our pianist, Susan Adams, has picked some lovely pieces for us. We also have 2 senior youth, Riley Scease and Iris Katzman, who have music for us. And our invocation today is by Greg Burdwood. Reverend Susan, would you like to close us out?
I would, and I would like to welcome you all and just offer a little blessing on all the transitions that have happened in our lives and in the church and with our youth and with our adults. And I'm so glad that you joined us this morning. So welcome to this worship service.
The South Church Spiritual Book Group is hosting a discussion of Surviving the White Gaze, a memoir, by Rebecca Carroll on Wednesday, June 9th at 7 p.m. All are welcome. Please contact South Church Book Group at gmail.com for the Zoom link. A reminder that slates from our roof are still available for a donation of $20 or more each Sunday from 1 to 3 p.m. on the portico. Charcuterie boards, chalk slates, canvas, house signs, clocks. What will you do with your piece of history? If you have any questions, please contact Lori Bilby at turningtide@comcast.net.
And don't forget to tell your friends, neighbors, and colleagues about the online Raise the Roof campaign that launched this past Wednesday. This is our last wave of outreach, this one targeting the larger community specifically. It's a great opportunity for us to amplify the work of our congregation and the way that our building serves our larger community in all kinds of different ways. Please help us get the word out. Thanks so much.
Good morning. I'm Jackie Ellis, here on behalf of the Pocket Garden Tour. Did you know that if you volunteer to sit in one of our gardens, you will get a free ticket to view all the gardens on the Pocket Garden Tour? That's right, a free ticket. And we really need help, particularly on Saturday morning from 10 to 1, Saturday afternoon from 1 to 4. The garden tour is on Saturday, June 26th this year, and if you volunteer for the second shift, the 1 to 4 shift, you will be able to see all the gardens on Friday evening or Saturday morning before you do your garden tour shift. The The garden tour has been the top fundraiser for South Church for years, and it's only successful when people like you volunteer to help. So please use the Sign Up Genius below and volunteer yourself to help us with this important fundraiser for South Church. Thank you.
Our winter is done, those caves grew dank, new warmth and light receive us from blight, freedom to breathe, to gather and share, go find your bliss. My hug, your kiss, the feel of your touch, old circles of friends, share laughter together, freedom to breathe, to gather and share, go find your bliss. Our voices united, we all sing together, with praises and thanks, we mend our old tethers, freedom to breathe, to gather and share, and find our bliss.
I was talking with a friend the other day, and she was sharing a story about her new truck. She was very excited about her new vehicle, and she had offered to let her father take it for a test drive. To her distress, he headed onto the highway and over the Route 95 bridge, staying in the far right lane. "Can you believe it?" she cried. "Who drives in the right lane over a bridge?" Like me, she has an innate fear of heights and bridges activated. Just hearing her tale, I could feel that sense of vertigo that spins my head and starts my heart racing. As we celebrate the bridging of our youth, I think about this, how for some, these transitions can have a destabilizing effect, a momentary swirling, a sense of disorientation, and then a realignment. Almost the same as before, but somehow changed. Then for others, the transition can be unremarkable, as easy as driving from one side of a Piscataqua River to the other, never noticing how close to the edge you are. However it is for you, youth or adult, this is an occasion to be marked. I do miss the procession of the youth around the sanctuary and over the threshold, but that time will come again. Until then, with the help of our youth, our congregation, and our extraordinary staff, we have put together this bridging ceremony to celebrate the ending of this church year and to prepare for the next.
Sing for justice, sway with hope, play with purpose.
By Reverend Gretchen Haley.
Whatever beat is moving through your bones, whatever holy disturbance is rising in your chest, whatever good word you've got for the good of the whole.
Clap it, snap it, and bring it out. Call it out, take the beat, add to it, change it, make it yours.
Gathered here in this sweet beauty, this power, bring all that you are and let it out. Let us not waste this time. Let us make a joyful noise, a more interesting sound, a fuller call.
A greater yes. Say it with me. Yes. Call out hello and amen. Woohoo and yes.
Sing for justice, sway in hope, play with purpose. This time is precious. You are precious, and all of us. This chance is a gift. Each breath is a gift. Being all together is a gift.
Let's celebrate, find a new rhythm, write a new song, make a new march for this longing, this dreaming, this discovery, for the urgent call of this day. For courageous love, let it ring out. Come, let us worship together.
Go. At South Church, we nurture spiritual growth through worship, learning, and community. We celebrate the worth and dignity of all people, and we inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community.
My story for you today is called Glitter Bridge. Once upon a time, there was a small old woman who carried the whole entire world on her small shoulders. She had been carrying it for many, many years. The world was really big and heavy, and her shoulders were bent because of it. She couldn't tell whether the world was getting heavier or she was getting older, and it was probably both, but whatever the reason, she didn't know how much longer she could carry it. She didn't want to ask anyone else to carry it, not even for one day, because knowing how heavy it was, she couldn't bear to put that weight on anyone else. So she moved through her days, slowing a little bit with each step. One hot and tiresome afternoon, she came across some children playing in the mud. They were moving some sticks around and they looked so joyful, and she couldn't understand why. It just looked like a muddy mess of a situation happening here. But the children were laughing and busy and didn't even seem to notice her at first, which was weird since she was carrying the whole world on her shoulders after all. The woman was so worn and tired that she couldn't even take one more step, and she just stood hunched over and tried to make sense of this spectacle of messy kids. Eventually, a child noticed her and ran over to the woman. "Why do you look so sad?" asked the child. "Well," said the woman, "I'm just so tired. This world is heavy and my shoulders are sore." The child kind of frowned and didn't really see what she was talking about, but went along with what the woman was saying. "Why don't you just put it down and play?" asked the child. "Well, if I put it down, it will all fall apart, and everyone is counting on me to keep this precious world together." The child thought for a minute. That's a big problem. Yes, grown-up people have grown-up problems. "Thank you for keeping it safe," said the child. "You're welcome," said the woman. Then the child told the woman, "You should cross the glitter bridge. It goes to Flufferton, where there's no gravity, only clouds. Everything there feels light, and you can eat the clouds. They taste like marshmallow pies, and they make you strong and happy, and there's music that makes you dance all the time." The woman smiled sadly at the child. "That sounds lovely. I wish I could go." "You can. The glitter bridge is right over there." And the child pointed to where the children had laid a bunch of sticks down in the mud. "You just cross Glitter Bridge and you'll see Flufferton right on the other side. Come on, I'll go with you." The woman was really too tired for pretend games, but the child looked at her with such a sweet and muddy face that she couldn't resist and decided she'd use her last little bit of energy to play along. So she followed the child slowly, one heavy footstep at a time, still balancing that great big world up there on her shoulders to where the sticks were laid out in the mud. The world shifted uncomfortably on her as the woman moved unsteadily. She really did not feel like playing, but the child was counting on her. "Okay, here we are. Now just walk across the glitter bridge and you'll be in Flufferton." The woman stepped onto the muddy sticks. She looked at the mud both under her and on the other side of the sticks. And she was thinking about how she'd have a big job getting cleaned up later. But she inched forward. Then, when she was about halfway across the sticks, or the so-called glitter bridge, her toe caught and she stumbled. It all kind of seemed to happen in slow motion. She reached her arms out in front of her as she felt herself falling forward, and the big, heavy world launched up off her shoulders. And as she went forward, the world went up and kept going up high into the sky. And she went sailing forward until she landed straight out in soft mush, face and all. Well, she wasn't hurt. And when she lifted her head, Her face was smeared with soft, goopy marshmallow. She looked around, and there were marshmallow clouds all around. She looked up in the sky, and she saw her world way up there, floating safely in orbit. And she started to laugh, and the sound of her laugh was familiar to her from a very long time ago. And she looked at the children floating around her, dancing and eating marshmallow clouds, and she was happy. She stayed for quite a while. When she went home, there was a world there waiting for her. But this one could fit in her pocket. And sometimes this world would start to feel bigger and heavier. But when this happened, she'd return to Glitter Bridge, where there were always some children who were eager to go with her to Flufferton, where there was no gravity. I love you, and I hope to see you at Glitter Bridge. I'll be there waiting for you.
It is now time for our morning offering, so that we can continue to do our important work within our congregation and in the larger community. Your donation helps us to pay our staff and maintain our buildings. And every month we share our plate with an organization chosen by the congregation. Our shared plate recipient for the month of June is the South Church Immigration Support Fund. We have a video by our very own Charlotte Ramsay who will talk about this program. After the video, please give as you are able by going online via the donate link on our website, or send a check in the mail to our office at 73 Court Street in Portsmouth. Details are on your screen. Thank you for your generosity.
Good morning. My name is Charlotte Ramsay, and I'm one of the overseers of South Church's new Immigrant Support Fund. The others overseers are Jim Verschuren, Kathy Wolf, Megan Harris, Sophia Barlock, and Jennifer Witten. I first met Peter when he was quarantined in our church last year. He had fled his native Congo after his parents and several siblings were murdered by the authorities. When he finally arrived in the U.S., he was immediately detained by ICE and moved from one prison to another for going on 2 years. Now he's out of jail and seeking asylum, a process that could take 2 or more years since immigration courts are backlogged with more than 3 million cases. He's not yet allowed to work and is ineligible to receive federal benefits, and yet he needs to live and pay for an attorney. South Church's Immigrant Support Fund was organized earlier this year to help Peter and other undocumented Seacoast-based immigrants. We've already contributed $3,000 toward Peter's legal fees. We also are assisting a deportation-threatened Moroccan family in Dover, a man from Cameroon, and another man from the Republic of Congo who was a quarantine guest at South Church. Besides legal expenses, we help with housing, health care, and other needs. We know South Church cares about this issue. We voted as a congregation in 2019 to support deportation-threatened immigrants, and we've never had a shortage of volunteers to help our quarantine guests. Now, we turn to you again for help with the Immigrant Support Fund to keep it solvent and available, often on short notice, to assist people in need. It may feel odd to have the shared plate go to a group in the church instead of to an outside organization, but it's all part of acting on our faith in the larger community. Thank you for whatever you can give.
nights long under the trees. I know this town running in a compass, cardinal landed in the dogwoods. Keep going over and over and over, steps that erase my shame. How calm every outcome, such a coming down. Lately afternoons with the shades drawn down. I kept saying I just wanted to see you, saying what's wrong with that. Shaking out mountains in a compass. Now every outcome such a come down. I knew it when I saw it. So I did just what I wanted. So I drove through it. I knew happiness when I saw it. Saw your boyfriend at the Port Authority, sort of messed up place. So I heard my stride on a quick one. It's coming back and going over your place, huh? I feel like I could forget about it. I feel like I could mellow out. I don't feel undone in a big way. There's nothing really bad to be upset about. Just when I thought I was getting better, I woke up on the ground with an appointment or disappointment. I sat back, oh, another come down. As if I needed a reminder. Oh, glad you won't be what I wanna. So I go through this. Walking outside the nighttime, springtime, needling my way home. I saw lady on a bus a few months ago. Saw some old friends at a funeral. Steps keep splitting this grief through these solipsistic moods. I should call my parents when I think of them. Should tell my friends when I love them. Maybe I should have gone out a bit more when you guys were still in town. I got you caught up in my own stuff. Now every outcome such a come down. I knew it when I saw it. So I did just what I wanted. So I go through this. I knew happiness when I saw it.
Oh, we give thanks. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. We're all gathered here, and those far away. This time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
It's time for our bridging procession. In years when we've been in our sanctuary, we've invited all the children and youth to have a kind of procession through an archway or a bridge, and we've celebrated their transition from one school year to the next. With our online format, we've decided that it's time to include adults in this procession, because we all are bridging all kinds of things all the time, moving from one place to another in our lives. And so for our procession, we invited people to send in a photo of you with a bridge of some sort, and we've put them together for you this morning. And just know that if you didn't send us a photo, we're still holding you, because we're all experiencing lots of kinds of transitions, and we have you all in our minds all the time.
Our 8th grade coming of age students are just about wrapped up with pulling together their worship service, which will actually be next Sunday when they share their faith statements that they've been working to develop all year. And those 8th graders are heading into our senior youth group in the coming fall. And that is always a really exciting time. We had the pleasure of spending some time with our senior youth a couple weeks ago, and the senior youth have recorded a special welcome for those 8th graders in anticipation of them joining the crew.
Hello.
Why are you like this?
You didn't even prep us for
Okay. No. Okay.
This is our. I'm sorry, I don't know what to call this group. You ready? Okay. Hello, incoming freshmen. This is my. I don't know what to call
No, this
like
is our group.
Your group. Action. Hi. How you guys doing? Hi. How you guys doing?
We are senior youth.
And we can't wait to. Hello, incoming freshmen. This is senior youth, and we're each gonna go down the line and tell you one thing that we like about it.
I love dressing up and wearing outrageous outfits.
The community. All the people are great.
It's fun. I like going swimming.
I like all the laughter.
I like the fun, like camping trips. Absolute chaos of every single meeting.
Joking around.
Running around.
I like to go on trips.
Can't wait to meet you here soon.
Looking
forward to it.
Yeah.
Each year for bridging, before the bridging service, sometime in May usually, we get together with the graduating seniors and their parents to just spend some time reflecting on the sometimes many, many years we have shared together, and to talk a little bit about this momentous transition in the lives of these young people and also in their parents' lives. And a part of that gathering each year involves the parents sharing some time just with themselves, reflecting on what their hopes are, what their wishes are for their children as they embark into adulthood. And we take those thoughts and that sort of brainstorming session and put it together into a blessing. So it is a blessing from the parents for our bridging youth. And we will read that for you now. Our wish for you is that you discover more about joy and about who you are, surrounded by new friends, big trees, and the ocean. May you find lifelong friends and a partner who will cheer your successes, pick you up when you fail, and love you through hard times. Laugh as often as you can. Be at peace with yourself. Play and play and play. Embrace unabashedly the things that bring you joy.
Our wish for you is that you continue to grow gently, that you see the wide open horizon ahead. Nurture yourself. Be kind to yourself and to others. Learn to grow pumpkins and then learn to make pumpkin pie for breakfast. Never stop being sassy. May you always know your own worth. May your life be filled with explosions of creativity. Our wish for you is that you find your passion and a soulmate to share it with, that you are surrounded by kind people, and that you learn to relax a little more. Find peace in the decisions you have made. Be proud for all you have accomplished. In the next few years, we hope you find fun as you become more independent, that you relax and enjoy the moment. Have the courage to be yourself because you are amazing, and have faith in others to love and let love.
Our wish for you is that you will try to appreciate every single day and be present in each moment as much as you can, even when things are a struggle or not exactly what you expected. That you know people much older and much younger than you all of your life. That you experience new friends, meeting old friends. May you have a life full of adventure and rich experiences. May you challenge yourself, and may you live in a pandemic-free world. Our wish for you is that you know you always have a home to come back to, no matter what and no matter when. In a few years, we hope you decide to teach OWL classes, so you get to witness 7th grade overnights sleeping on the hard church floor.
May you read a poem every Sunday, or take a walk, or hold someone's hand, or go to church. And we will too. And then we will always be together, even when we are apart. Our wish for you is that you know we'll always be here when you need us. Our last part of our bridging ritual this morning is the bridging of our graduating seniors into adulthood. When children are blessed at South Church as young ones, we use a rose and we take off the thorns for the blessing to symbolize the protection and the sort of sanctuary that our congregation provides to them as they're growing. And when we bridge our young adults into adulthood, we again, in person, use a rose for that blessing. And in this case, it's a rose with thorns. And the thorns represent our trust that these young people have been held and nurtured and prepared for the world and are ready to navigate it, thorns and all. And I do trust that that's true. And I had the pleasure of gathering together a few of the former youth advisors, as well as a few young adults who have bridged before, who offer this blessing for our graduating youth. In each of their homes, they have a rose and some holy water so they can participate in the blessing as they watch this recording.
We bless your eyes that you may see clearly.
We bless your lips that you may speak the truth in love.
We bless your ears that you may listen deeply.
We bless your heart that you may follow the path of love.
We bless your hands that you may find meaning and purpose.
And we bless your feet that you may travel far and wide, but always find your way home.
Welcome to adulthood. We hope to see you at the youth group reunion in January.
This has been an incredible time of transitions, time of bridging from what has been unknown to even more what has been unknown. The COVID-19 virus is still with us and still making its presence known, and yet there is some sense of safety and return of some activities in our life, and that bridging between what's safe and what's not, and how much to get back into what we're so familiar with makes us raise a lot of questions. So I'm just kind of in a reflective mood about bridging and safety and transitioning knowing that so much shifts and change from hour to hour and day to day, and that most of all, we're concerned with everyone's well-being, and that we know that you have given so much this past year to continue to be part of South Church. And we hope that you know how much we have given to feel that connection with you. Transitions are never easy. Change is never easy. It always brings with it unknown, anxiety, fear sometimes. And yet that bridging part of it can bring about a lot of excitement as we try and explore and experiment and to be in new ways. And therefore, my reflections have been about bridging, about transitioning, about the multitude of ways that we have had to be together across the miles, across the distances this season. We welcome our youth. We welcome them as young adults. We are so glad that they have undergone this bridging ceremony with us into this wonderful community that together explores ways of being. I would invite you to write any concerns that you have in the chat, any prayer needs that you have, anything that you need to express, knowing that we will reach out to you, that we're here for you, that we're with you. May we be in peace. Amen. And so may it be.
Our theme this month is play. And I love this theme as we celebrate bridging, because the children and youth at South Church have taught me a lot about play. Today, I'd like to share a little about what they have taught me with all of you. Young people are good at playing. Not only are they good at it, they seek it out. Of course, every young person is different, and it's easy to paint a false picture when you talk about children and youth. They are not a singular community who all connect with church and with one another in the same way. Just like with adults, within that umbrella of youth and children, we are a community of many communities. That said, Play can take many forms, and I do believe it is a fair generalization to say that play is a central practice in childhood and in adolescence. Prior to the COVID pandemic, people in Portsmouth who found themselves walking down the sidewalks of State Street on a Friday night might have heard loud screams and laughter from inside our church as middle school or high school kids squealed through the sanctuary, chasing each other in the dark. If you think back on holiday parties, there's almost always a room scattered with board games and stickers and goofy costumes. This past year, as we all navigated social distancing and struggled with isolation, many of our kids showed up to our invitations to meet at parks, in the woods, in backyards, masks on, hungry to play with one another. Play is poured into the experiences of this church for our children as it is in their lives more broadly. And as they grow, play lives in the language they share with one another. Cemented in my mind is a scene of our high school youth, many of whom are bridging today, in San Diego, playing sardines, a version of hide and seek, in this crazy Airbnb we rented. I can picture another group of youth throwing frisbees in a parking lot in West Virginia. I have hundreds of images in my mind of kids playing cards on hotel floors, in vans, at restaurant tables. There was a 3-hour slow motion photo session in Alabama where several youth took running jumps onto a queen bed, while others filmed, seeking to capture the funniest in-motion facial expressions and body postures. They were rolling on the floor laughing at the footage as they played it back. The actors in those short clips allowing themselves to be the source of hysterical jokes, flopping cheeks, awkward contortions offered as a gift to their peers and celebrated with applause that you might hear at a gymnastics meet. I've learned over these past many years that there is a lot going on when people play. The kids have taught me that. I have watched our young people use play as a tool for processing hard things. They use it to release stress, and they use it to connect deeply with other people. Those memories of play that I just shared with you are pulled out of context, but the context is relevant. Our children and youth do hard work at this church and in their lives. They put time into thinking about the world we are living in. They examine our culture and consider the ways human beings love one another and the ways we harm one another. They strategize with us about how to affect change in themselves and in others. They work at building spiritual practices. They participate in rituals. They often choose to be vulnerable. They choose it, and to practice trust with our community. I'm not sure that there is any harder work in life than that, or anything more important. Right now, as much as any time before, the brokenness of the world is so clear. We need to be raising generations that know better than we do how to live in community with others, how to question one's own assumptions, how to care for ourselves and how to care for others. And play serves as a powerful incentive as well as powerful medicine in that work. Month after month, year after year, so that by high school, these hodgepodge groups of young people can step into truly challenging spaces, and they are able to provide one another with much needed release from the heavy work before them. As adults, we have a lot we can learn or relearn from watching the young ones around us. One of the most incredible things about a church community is the fact that we collectively span 9 or 10 decades. There are very few other places that offer the opportunities we have here to learn across ages. Where else outside of your own family, perhaps, are you afforded the chance to watch a child grow from birth into adulthood? What other places are children able to connect with adults, the same adults, year after year, through storytelling, service work, potlucks, music, ritual, learning, and travel? Ask any of the kids who have spent time in the nursery of this church over the past decade about Barney Hoop, and they will smile a deep smile of recognition and joy. I don't know if he's listening today, but he knows about the power of play and the magic of church community. Here, we are afforded opportunities to know people who are living through different life stages than our own, and that is an incredible gift. It benefits all of us. Every year, as I prepare a bridging homily and I think about the young adults who are heading out into the world, I am humbled by the power of relationship. Riley, Jax, Maren, Grace, Shane, Sophie B, Caroline, Iris, Abbie, Sophie C. Thank you for making time in your lives for this community. Thank you for the things you've taught us. Don't underestimate what you have been given by this faith and these people, or what is yet to be received. Keep playing, keep playing, keep playing. You are loved.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we're together again.
Our benediction this morning is a poem written by Rabindranath Tagore. He was a Bengali poet and philosopher who died in 1941. The poem is titled Playthings. Child, how happy you are, sitting in the dust, playing with a broken twig all morning. I smile at your play with that little bit of a broken twig. I am busy with my accounts, adding up figures by the hour. Perhaps you glance at me and think, what a stupid game to spoil your morning with. Child, I have forgotten the art of being absorbed in sticks and mud pies. I seek out costly playthings and gather lumps of gold and silver. With whatever you find, you create your glad games. I spend both my time and my strength over things I never can obtain. In my frail canoe, I struggle to cross the sea of desire, and I forget that I too am playing a game.
Santa Monica dream. 15 kids in the backyard drinking wine. Tell me stories of the sea and the ones we left behind. Goodbye to the roses on your street. Goodbye to the paintings on the wall. Goodbye to the children we'll never meet. And the ones we left behind. And the ones we left behind. I'm somewhere, you're somewhere, you're somewhere. I'm nowhere, there's nowhere, you're somewhere. I could go there, but I don't. Rob's in the kitchen making pizza. Somewhere down in Battery Park. I'm singing songs about the future. Wondering where you are. I could call you on the telephone. Do I really wanna know? You're making love now to the lady down the road. No, I don't wanna know. I'm somewhere, you're somewhere. You're nowhere, you're nowhere. You're somewhere, you're nowhere. I could go there, but I don't. Goodbye, my Santa Monica dream. 15 kids in the backyard drinking wine.
sweet.